Hey guys, it's Rod from Civil Advantage Firearms Training here. I guess about the third video in our outdoor series. We're going to talk about, I hate to call it a go bag or a bailout bag, just basically an emergency bag. How big should the thing be? What should be in it? You know, just some suggestions just from my experience. I do have a backpack here, and this backpack is always packed. It's in the house, and it is that one bag should there be any kind of natural disaster or any other reason why I would be in a real rush to leave the house. I would only have time to grab one bag, and of course if I'm going to grab a bag I'll be grabbing a firearm or two at the same time. But if I only have that opportunity just to grab whatever I can carry, this is going to be it. So you know, when you're talking about anything that sounds like a go bag or a bailout bag or what have you, everyone has a different opinion of what should be in there and what it should look like. Some people might think, you know, this thing should be a duffel bag, and I should have a sleeping bag and all that stuff inside. Some people think it should be one of these little ammunition bags, right? Small, black handled. I got a few of those, but it's not really gonna fit the bill for anything more than an overnighter kind of thing, right? So anyway, different opinions for different uses. I'm going to show you what's inside this one, and I'm going to tell you the reasons why I put each individual item in there. But for me, this bag is, I'm leaving and I'm not coming back for 3 days. Or I'm leaving and I'm not coming back ever. You know, can you put everything you need to live, you know, for 3 months in the bush into a bag like this? I certainly don't have those skills, but at least it's a good start. And, you know, I've got a little bit of something for a lot of different situations in one bag. So let's open it up and have a look and see what's in there. Okay, so let's have a look at what's in this pack. So in the top pocket here, I have 2 headlamps. So the top pocket is my quick access. You know, I've grabbed this bag, I've ran out of the house, you know, the earthquake has swept my house off the mountain, what have you, right? The stuff that I want to grab immediately will usually be the stuff in this top outermost pocket. So I have 2 headlamps here. Now these are Energizer ones. I've got them at Walmart, and I think I paid 14 bucks each for. I think these ones were a little bit more expensive. This one was 18 bucks or something like that, but it's 120 lumens or something like that. I mean, these things are awesome, and this one I've had for about 4 years and it's still going strong. In fact, I just replaced the batteries for the first time, and I mean, I go trudging right through thick brush and everything in the middle of the night with this guy. Works really awesome. So you really don't need anything super expensive. You know, I had a buddy that had a Petzl, and I think he paid some ungodly amount of money for it, $100 and some odd, and I mean, the thing was just super weak, right? So name brand really doesn't mean a lot. With pardon the smoke, we're doing our little charcoal thing over here, but name brand in my mind really doesn't mean a whole lot with these things. Just go with something that works really well. These Energizer ones have been really, really good. I have a sock here that I'm using as a case for my eye protection. So I always keep clear eye protection in everything, because if you're going to start moving through the bush, you should always have a pair of glasses on. All you need in your life is, you know, I've had a serious issue happen in my life. I'm out in the bush. I make 2 steps into the bush to try to conceal myself or try to look for some kind of resources, and stick in the eye, and my eye deflates, and there's no access to medical care. So that's something you definitely don't want any part of. So always put eye protection on. So I always have a set of clears. I mean, these things are $4, right? At Walmart or wherever, sporting goods store. Now you're going to pay a premium, what, $7.50? Always have a pair. And if you don't have a case, just use a sock. And you know what? I don't know anybody that doesn't have piles and piles of unmatched white socks. So I use them for glass cases, because they're great for that, and I also use them for cleaning guns. Why would I ever buy rags to clean guns, right? When you've got all these socks kicking around. So of course I have the usual stuff, a compass. What's really important, now a lot of these items are really important. Keep your knives sharp. There's a dull knife is really dangerous, right? A lot more dangerous than a sharp one. So keep your knives sharp. So here's one of these easy sharpeners. They don't last forever, but I can sharpen my my pocket knife 10-15 times with this thing. So good thing to have. I got some black markers. I have extra batteries in here. Imagine this tool, a pair of scissors. You know what? Scissors are so stinking handy, and you take them for granted when, you know, you live at home, and you know, you can always just run out to the store and buy a new pair, but they can come in really handy for a lot of stuff. Calculator, don't want to, you know, you can't underestimate how important it is to have a calculator. There's a lot of calculations you have to make, whether you're shooting or trying to figure out how much material you need for something. Always good, they're cheap. I mean, this is a free one that I got for buying a larger calculator. It was in the package. Why not throw it in there? A mirror, really important. Now this mirror is going to break because it's only one single piece, but in here I have a compact mirror that that I was able to find in some old stuff. So it opens up, 2 pieces of mirror in there, and it closes and it's protected. Yeah, so I mean, other than a few Band-Aids and a pair of poly gloves in case I have to gut an animal or whatnot, and I don't want to have too much organic material in my hands, got that in there. But that's about it just for this pocket. Next one. As you can see on the outside, I have 2 Glock knives. I buy Glock knives because they are absolutely indestructible. I mean, you can hammer these things. I've had this thing for 5 years, thrown it at trees for days at a time. My kids have thrown them at trees. I got nothing against trees, by the way, but they never did me any harm. But super, super tough. They have a root saw on the back. I mean, you're never going to destroy these. So I always like to have 2 of important stuff. So 2 Glock knives on the outside. When I open up this pocket, I have some charcoal briquettes. Did another video on those, as you guys know. I have some toiletries, meaning some soap, some shampoo, just a few things. I do a lot of traveling, so I get those from the hotels, and so I got a few of those things, a couple bars of soap, hotel bars, because they're small. Use them, and you know, it doesn't matter. You can use them a couple times, then you know, you don't have to worry about repacking them or whatnot. And a couple of tea towels and a washcloth. So that's really important when you're washing your stuff, like your knives and your hands. Just have that stuff, and I pack everything in plastic bags. I can't tell you how handy Ziploc bags are. Super handy. And then about 150 feet of paracord. I buy a big spool and then spool these off myself. You can get 1,000 feet for what, 35 bucks? Spend the money and get one of those. Anyway, you want to have a sufficient amount of paracord because you can build a shelter with paracord. You can put a drawstring in your pants, use it as a belt, hang your clothes to dry, you know, you name it. You can do it with paracord. Deep wood's off. You want to have some of that, and also some sunscreen if you need it, if you're of a very fair complexion like myself. Here's something a lot of people don't think about, and this is really important, and we're going to touch on this in shelter building. What I've done was I put what we call a pick-quick screwdriver, but a screwdriver with all the different bits. Okay, not super heavy, but it's a real tool. It's not a cheapo special. But with this tool, I can deal with all kinds of different situations, including with the flat blade screwdriver. But here's what I put in here: some Robertson, that's square heads for those of you that are into the Phillips thing. But I've got Robertson screws, 3.5-inch screws, treated ones, big ones, number 10 thread. Why do I have these screws? Because I'll tell you this: if you use screws for the main structure of your shelter, you're laughing. It takes a fraction of the time, even if you're screwing them by hand, and your shelter will never fall. How do I know that? I learned that when I went camping one time, and me and the boys pulled into an area where we hadn't camped before, and there was hunters there before we got there. And the hunters had put up a big stand to hang their deer when they shot it. So I looked at that and I went, well, these guys are long gone. That looks like firewood to me. So I go over there and I figured I'd just pull this thing apart or cut the twine or whatever they put together. No, they screwed it together, and that thing, we were hanging off it. It was like a jungle gym. So really, really great idea. Throw just a handful of these 3-inch screws, but do yourself a favor and go to a real, like a building supply place to get these screws. If you get them at, I'm not going to say the name, but let's say a national chain, they have soft, home grade, work around the house grade screws, and they strip out. They're very soft metal. So get yourself some good ones, some decking screws or something. Okay, so I don't have a whole lot of them, but I probably have, I'd say 30 And that's enough to build a little frame on a shelter that's not going to fall down under any circumstances. So good thing to have. They're really not that heavy. I'd say this pack, all told, weighs maybe 20 pounds. It's not bad at all. So in the main compartment, well, I'll tell you what's on this little compartment. Pack of cards. Really good thing to have, because cards you can, you play a million games with a deck of cards, right? So you're going to have some time off, some time to just kind of hang out with the people you're with, or play solitaire. God forbid you're by yourself. But a deck of cards is a really lightweight thing, and it keep you occupied. Of course, flint and steel here. Well, it's magnesium. Fire starter, just in case all else fails. In here, I've got, again, everything I pack it in plastic bags. Why? Because it's waterproof. It stays together, right? It's not going to get tangled up with other stuff. And I can use those bags for something else if I need them. Another thing I have here is strike anywhere matches, plus a lighter, plus a bunch of zip blocks. Fire starting for me, non-issue, no big deal. A notebook. So I got a calculator and I got a notebook. Notebook is really important. You're going to want to take notes on stuff. If you're doing any kind of surveillance, if you're making a list of things you need, you're creating a journal, you want to leave a note for someone like this. Really good. And I mean, how many of these do we get free throughout our lives? Just grab one from an event and just throw it in your pack. I don't think I need to tell anybody what that's for. Extra hat in case I don't have one, I'm in the sun. Okay, first aid supplies. Again, in a Ziploc bags. Keeps them dry, keeps them all together. So what's important is here, there's a lot of wonder drugs in our lives that we take for granted because we just do. We just stop by the drugstore and we get them. No big deal. Like antacid tablets, right? Tums. Cures acid reflux and upset stomach. I mean, man, what a handy thing to have. When you're in the bush, you'll have nothing. So get a little thing of Tums. They're cheap now, obviously. I have allergy pills because I got hay fever and stuff like that. Different types of bandages. Butterfly closures, really important because you may or may not have the opportunity or the option to do your own stitches. I mean, you guys saw Rambo, the original one. Rambo sews up his own arm. I don't know. I think I can be tough sometimes. I don't think I'm anywhere near that tough. So, some medical tape, stuff like that. Now, here's something that's real important. Oh, and some antiseptic hand cleaner, right? Here's something that's real important. I have mild asthma, so it behooves me that I get extra asthma drugs and hide them everywhere. Okay, so a lot of people overlook that. So here my asthma is really mild, but there's some people that are really asthmatic where they actually need medication all the time to survive. Man, you should have a lot of spares everywhere, and it's a really funny experience. I went to the drugstore and I had a prescription for quite a few of these things, and I wanted to fill them all at the same time because I have some here, I have some there, I have them in every vehicle in case something happens, and that's all I end up having. And they give me a hard time, and I said, is there a problem? They said, well, we prefer if you only fill so many of these at a time. I'm like, I don't care what you prefer. So I don't know what's going on there, but they don't want you stockpiling medicine that you may need to survive. I don't know why. The other thing, last but not least, allergy pills, of course. Last but not least, aspirin. Now, when I say aspirin, no, completely I'm talking about ibuprofen and acetaminophen. Remember, ibuprofen and acetaminophen you can take together in certain quantities. So they're fever reducers, they're painkillers. These are wonder drugs. I know we're tripping over them all over our houses, but good idea to have some of those around. I have a bag of miscellaneous stuff in here too. Sewing, a couple of things for sewing, keeping my clothes together. I got a spark plug wrench for my chainsaw. I got some camouflage tape, some electrician's tape, a couple more lighters, stuff like that. I also have a little pill bottle that was empty, and I filled that full of smokeless powder. Why do I need smokeless powder in my pack? Who knows, but what a great thing to have if I did need it, right? For those of you that don't know what smokeless gunpowder, right? So, what do we got here? Cleaning kit for guns, including a brand new full can of Break Free, which is lubricant, preservative, and gun cleaner. Plus patches. I have a bore brush and a cleaning rod. Okay, and a couple of socks too for cleaning the oil off guns. Really important to have. Here's another important thing. If you guys can see this, I'll take it out. This is a coffee filter. This is a coffee maker basically, right? This sits on a cup of coffee. You put a number 2 cone filter in here. You put your coffee in, you pour boiling water. Well, that's really handy to have, but am I really concerned with coffee when I'm out here? If I'm grabbing this pack and I know I'm never returning for home? Probably coffee's not my biggest concern. I think I might have a little bit of coffee in there anyway. I'm kind of addicted to it. But nonetheless, why do I have this and all these filters? Because what a great water filter, right? So if I'm going to take natural water, I want to get the sediment out of it, especially if I'm reduced to a very slow moving stream and a lot of garbage and stuff in there. It's a water filter. Is it going to filter out bacteria and whatnot? Of course not. I'm still going to boil my water, but man, is this going to save me a lot of hassle. Something I will make mention of. I think I talked about it when I put a video up about that we were going to do some of this outdoor series. And you get a lot of guys like, oh, you can make a filter out of a pair of socks and then like a handkerchief and all this stuff. And you know what, honestly, I would prefer just to do this and put this stuff in my pack and not have to worry about it. So I know it's not super hardcore survival, but man, you know what I paid for this? $4.50. $4.50 at the drugstore. So how can you go wrong? A little bit of stuff to keep things clean. Again, I've got some hand sanitizer. I've got a sponge with a scrubbing pad on it and a scrub brush with, it's one of those ones where you squeeze it, and I've got some dish soap. So the stuff that I'm eating with, my knives, stuff like that, I can clean properly. Hygiene's, of course, as you guys know, if you're really into survival, hygiene's super important. I got a little pack of soups, some bouillon cubes, and also some spice mixes. I'm not going to tell you why I have the soup. Obviously, you guys know. I have enough for 1, 2, 3, 4 meals for 3 people, soup-wise, and bouillon cubes when I'm really getting desperate. But I have some of these chipotle pepper spice packages, and there's actually quite a bit in these. Why do I have this stuff? Well, God forbid I'm in a situation where I have to eat a squirrel, you know, or a badger, or you know, anything like these animals that I really don't want to eat. I will be really, really happy that I have something, some kind of spices or something to cover over that flavor and just make things a little bit easier, a little bit more palatable to eat. So, you know what? These things weigh nothing. They don't cost a lot. They're about $1.40, I think, a pack. You know, grab yourself a couple and stick them in a plastic bag. And these things last forever. So, excellent idea to have in there. Now, I don't have any more food other than what you see here, because you know, that's not part of the plan. Remember, I'm only grabbing 1 bag, and I'm hoping to survive long enough till I get myself established or find some other food source. If I'm going to start carrying food, the bag's going to be a lot bigger, right? I got a rain poncho, a pair of gloves, super important. Okay, if you're like me and you work in an office or do stuff where you're not working on tools, you know, I used to work on tools, but I don't anymore. My hands are really soft, and I'm going to end up with blisters. I'm going to have a hard time using my hands, chopping wood and all the rest of that stuff if I don't protect them. So make sure that you got a good pair of gloves. These are, I use these as shooting gloves. They're excellent. So I got a few pair of those. And I have, the only other food item I have is 6 times 35 grams. So basically 6 scoops of protein powder. Okay, no soy. This is whey powder, pure whey powder with no aspartame in it. So now I've got, what, 6 meals all in here. Okay. Here's another thing that's really easy to bring and will come in really handy. 2 recyclable shopping bags. These things are really, really tough. They're super lightweight and they're pretty big. You can get them in the larger size, right? You can carry all kinds of stuff in here. You can carry firewood, you can carry rocks. I've tried that. They hold up to carrying rocks. You can do all kinds of stuff. You'd be really glad that you had these if the situation presented itself. In this little spot here, inside, I have a boar snake. I have Q-tips for cleaning my guns, some extra gun oil, and I don't know if you guys can see that, but a bunch of buckshot. I think I got a couple of slugs. I got slugs, yeah. So now I've got defense ammunition against predators, and so no matter what else I bring, ammunition-wise, of course I'm going to bring a gun and all that stuff, but no matter what else I get, I've always got that there. Up in this pocket, I got a pair of binoculars. Okay, binoculars super, super important. they're not just to protect yourself. Therefore, scanning areas, does that look like a good place? I don't want to walk all the way up there if it's not a good place for me. I can take the binocs out and have a look. I also have a monocular, which is good. Earplugs, they're going to help you sleep, especially if you're bothered by the noise in the bush. So if you're able to get someplace safe in the bush, slip the earplugs in and get some sleep, for God's sakes. 2 flashlights. So no, I can't stress enough how important it is to have light, especially in the bush. So I've got 2 headlamps and I've got 2 LED flashlights. These are 150 lumens each. These things are awesome, and they only take 3 batteries. I got some nails for just pinning up some stuff, making a clothesline, putting a couple nails in the tree, and stringing some paracord. And I brought a little handful of clothes pegs as well. These are just convenience items, right? Makes life easy. And we're almost done. Woo! This was a long one. I got a multi-tool here. So you know why those are good. Another monocular or whatnot. Bunch of garbage bags and a bunch of batteries and some mantles for my small lantern that I carry around with me too. So that's it. The garbage bags are really important. I saw a video here on YouTube. This guy was an excellent outdoorsman. You know what you do? You stuff these garbage bags full of leaves and grass, and you can sleep on them. It's like a little mattress. So why wouldn't you pack like 8 of these garbage bags? Awesome. Great idea. And you can also use them as kind of like a duvet. A poor man's duvet, I guess, right? The desperate duvet, we'll call it. But you can use them as a duvet or some kind of quilting material. So when you fill them up full of that stuff, you pull them back on top of you and you can stay warm. So if you have 8 or 10 of these things, which weigh nothing, you're really in good shape. Okay, so that's it. Look at it. Look at this big pile of stuff. And in fact, the one thing I should mention is I have a series of needles, like hobby needles. So needles for leather, for cloth, all the rest of that stuff. And I've got quite a few spools of the strongest thread I can find. So the reason why that's good is if you have to sew yourself up, then you can do that. I talk like it's something that's easy. I don't think it would be easy at all. But that's an option. Plus you can repair all your clothes. So yeah, I mean, look at all that stuff. You got a lot of options, and I think you'd be doing real well to have any of this stuff with you if you're in a pinch. So again, if you have suggestions, again, like think about the theme itself. If you have suggestions, go ahead and put them down in the comments. Hopefully some of the stuff you haven't thought of, and it's interesting. Hopefully you guys have some information for me that I haven't thought of, and that's about it. So we'll see you next time.